watching. Happy Easter Monday. Hope you've had a lovely weekend, whether that was seeing family, whether that was chilling on the sofa, whether that was going riding, whatever it was. Hope you had a lovely weekend. I've had to switch my phone around. I've been really trying hard to film from the back as such because I think the quality's meant to be better, but I don't know, I just find it easier if I'm looking at myself, which is a really weird thing to say. I don't know why, it just is. Also, the way I hold it doesn't give me such arm ache. Anyway, we're just gonna have to go with this for now. I know it's not the best quality, but it's fine. It's a very gloomy day though. Look behind me, very gloomy. It was so beautiful yesterday, but it is mild, which I like. I was driving into work this morning and the roads were dead. So quiet. And I was thinking, am I the only one working? I know that I'm not the only one working. There's plenty of people working on bank holidays, but it felt like it. I was like, literally saw 2 cars in 20 minutes on main roads. It was so strange, but yeah. Anyway, it makes sense for me to work. I'm better off taking time off when there's no work around. And also I've got a lot of bills to pay at the moment, especially with Sienna's veterinary bills. So if there's work there, you need to take it. So that is exactly what I've done. I'm out with Coco and Morris this morning. I think this is probably going to be a very much Sienna video, an update. Literally it's been a week now since she was medicated. So currently she's like in the honeymoon phase, I'd say, because the medication, steroid, though it went obviously into its area, it still goes into the bloodstream a little bit and it goes around the horse's whole body. So they do feel generally better all over. And so we really need to push her and we really need to just see how comfortable she's now feeling and what she's capable of doing. Very midgy today. I didn't realise, because obviously where it'd been so dry through March into the beginning of April, we didn't have any midges, did we? And then suddenly, because it's been a bit damper again recently, they've come back and they do bite, don't they? Horrible things. Anyway, this next week is really important that I push Sienna. Remember, we've had her suspensory scan, so we know that they're not inflamed, that she hasn't got any holes or tears. Doesn't mean that they're not causing her pain, but we know that they're not in a bad state or anything like that. But it's really important that we push her this week because we need to know if she is truly in pain. I'm fairly confident she is. But if the work she does this week is her being positive and confident and forward and she's nowhere near as tense and she's more amenable, then we can be pretty clear that the steroid somewhere in her body has made her feel a lot more comfortable, and in return she is happier to work. So that's one question we definitely need answered. The second question then would be is if she's working happier and she's doing more and she's not, thinking backwards, stopping, rearing, having the occasional buck or bronc or whatever, then we need to figure out how we put the steroid in the right place. So if in a couple of weeks she starts to go back downhill again, we know then that we didn't get it in the right place. If she continues to be positive and she's working well and showing signs of improvement and doing what normal ridden horses do, then we can probably assume we did put the steroid in the right place. So these next few weeks are so important. But the biggest issue for me is that I don't ride her that much. Like, Sienna's fit. She does 5 days a week, 6 days a week of work, but not ridden work. And so for me, the last time I rode her properly was this time last year when she had her SIs medicated and we had kind of 2 months of really good work from her. So for me, it's quite hard, getting back into the swing of it with her and feeling confident and not thinking about all the past scary times we've had. And time's not on my side initially. So I have to be really brave and just put my brave pants on and just get going and try not to think about it too much. So like I say, we want to try and get her out hacking on her own, have a little bit of a play in the school and just really test her, see how she feels. It's kind of vital that we, get moving as quickly as possible. So I've got to be brave. So I'm just getting ready to go for a hack. Brought them in about an hour ago and she only had 5.5 hours out today, but they are on a bit of extra grass. So they've been on nothing for the last couple of weeks and it was so bare out there. They were both coming in really hungry and she was quite unhappy because she needs a certain amount of food to keep her entertained in the field. So I increased their pen. And she was fine when she came in yesterday, but I think she might have only done 4.5 hours out yesterday, whereas today she did 5.5, maybe 5 3/4. And she's coming quite bloated today, which makes her feel uncomfortable. I can hear her gut making quite a few noises. She's digging because she's feeling a bit uncomfortable because, she's the drama queen. And so I'm like, this is not helping my nerves because I think she's already a bit aggy. So it's do I take her for a hack? Do I not take her for a hack? The joys of haynet soaking. I feel like I'm already bored of soaking them. I'm like, when can I have haylage back? Well, the horses are eating their tea and the hay nets are draining. I thought I'd tell you how our first hack in probably a year, maybe just under a year actually, went. Sienna was making some really strange noises. I think she was incredibly gassy when she came in and she was very uncomfortable. I walked her around the arena tacked up for a while, walking her just over the poles set out in there. And she was a bit on edge, but I thought, you know what, I've just got to do it. I've just got to do it. So I did get on and we went off down the road. She was a bit sticky to get off the drive and she met just so much traffic. It was quite unbelievable. Halfway around, I slightly wanted to cry. And I'm not really somebody that cries because I just felt like the world and its wife were trying to throw stuff at us. And I was like, just go away. Like, go home and eat some Easter eggs. Like, stop annoying us on this ride. Because she is green. You know, she hasn't done a huge amount of hacking on her own. And she gets nervous. And she wasn't getting the opportunity to get over what she'd just been worried about before something else scary came along. For example, a tractor with a plough on the back. Dogs running in and out of a hedge. We had a really rude delivery man who was throwing parcels in the back of his van, which was worrying her. We had a youngster on a really scary little motorbike. We had something that looked like a monster truck car. It was humongous. Sheep. We had sheep that weren't there 2 days ago. Now there were sheep in 2 different fields on our road, which also blew our brains. There was just so much. And it just did stress her out quite a bit. But the good thing is that even though she got quite upset, she also got over it quite quickly and she went back to being quite chilled, which was lovely. And we even had a little trot on the road, which was nice. So there were lots of positives. We had a couple of sticky moments where she did slightly glue herself to the road, mainly because of the sheep. But we did work through it and we did get going again. So it wasn't ideal circumstances with so much traffic and so many scary things, but she coped, and that's the main thing. So onwards and upwards, and fingers crossed we can have another few nice rides this week with maybe a little less traffic and scary stuff. Roll on the most boring schooling footage you have ever seen, but this is more of a reference for me, guys, to look back over in a few months' time. So if you're wondering why she filmed this rubbish, that's why. Yeah, we've hit an early sticky part with Sienna here, where she just went a little bit short in the stride, a little bit backwards thinking, but it didn't last very long and we don't make a big deal about it. It's early days. This is probably the first time I've schooled her since last autumn, and I don't think I broke out of a walk with her last year. So the fact that we're trotting is major progress. I'm not entirely convinced she's sound behind, but I spoke to my vet about it today and we're not too worried because it's still really early days and we're hoping she is going to get better. There were so many positives to take from this session. I know to probably other people you're thinking it doesn't look very good. Firstly, I know she's overbent. She chooses to carry herself like this, but actually this is far better than what it has been because she had started dropping her head right to the floor, and not in a positive way. It wasn't her stretching or anything like that. It was her trying to find some comfort. And so the fact that she was happy to carry her head and neck like this and she wasn't wanting to put it on the floor was a really positive sign. She is still tongue rolling, but I don't think it is as bad as it has been again. So this is good. And it's going to take a long time for her to get over the tongue rolling. That is not going to go away overnight. I thought as the session went on, her stride became more open. And for me, she doesn't look too tense. You know, we've had many a schooling sessions where Sienna looks so on the edge. But you know what? She doesn't look too bad. Her body isn't too tight, apart from this moment now where she's being a bit sticky again. So being that she has the education of a 4-year-old, she has done so little schooling work. We're taking this as a win today. The next steps really are to now actually start working her. So under saddle, to try and get her to gain some confidence, to get stronger, especially the muscle over her back and also her core strength so that she can carry herself. We need her to learn how to use her hindquarters because this has been the biggest issue, is that she just doesn't use her hindquarters. So teaching her to take a bit of weight behind, to have that little bit of sit, and then that way she'll come up more in the front end and then she'll be able to take her neck and head out more, which is what we want. So there's a lot of work to be done. So you just need to keep your fingers very tightly crossed for me, guys, that she stays comfortable and that she gets better and better and that we can enjoy more sessions like this because I flippin' loved riding her. It felt like such a treat.